Welcome to our another video. Here we are going to Trojanize the Docker images. So this is done using our open source tool called Blocker Scan. So one of the other key features of this is it also can scan our registries. So why wait? Let us get started. So as usual, I'm going to first open up my terminal. The first thing I'm going to do is pull up and save the Docker image that needs to be Trojanized. So I'm pulling v45 flask and I'm also saving it under this name. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to save the entire file system of this image to this file called one flask. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is once I enter, it is going to fetch all the images because these images are not in my local instance. Okay, it is going to take few minutes, sometimes seconds and sometimes minutes. So it's almost done and done. Now once we have this, the next thing what we are going to do is first let us list the images. Okay, so let's see what's there. We know what's there. We have our v45 one flask. So let us list the files and now we have this created, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is use the Docker scan and then Trojanize the entire file. So I'm going to use Docker scan image modify. Okay, Trojanize what? The ASE1 flask that we just got and created. Okay, and then we are also going to give the IP, that is here the server IP. Okay, then we have the listener port, that is 1337, and then whatever the Trojanized file we get, we are going to write it to another file, that is ASE1 flask Trojanized. So now let me hit enter. Okay, so it starts analyzing the Docker image. Okay, the image is ASE1 flask whatever we gave. So we can see that the Docker can give us the listener command. So you can also run on the machine to listen. Okay, so that's one thing. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to load the Trojanized Docker file. So before that, let us list. So we now see that we have the Trojanized .tar. It has been saved in the .tar extension. So what we are going to do is load it using the docker load command and we are going to load the .tar extension. Okay, so once done, so we are Trojanizing this. Okay, so it's almost done. So whenever I give Docker images now, so we have two v45 one flask, okay, with created 6 years ago. The interesting part about this is the Docker scan is going to create whatever. The date of that creation isn't modified. So even if the attacker is going to gain access, Trojanize and then push, the date or the modified content, whatever is there, we will not be able to differentiate that. Okay, so thereby we see two here and usually the first one whatever we have is the Trojanized image. Now let us open another terminal and run the netcat command, so in order to gain the reversion access. So now it is listening on port 1337. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use the Trojanized docker run. So the listener should have the reversion access. So I'm using the docker run command along with port 5000. So once I give this, you can see it says connecting. Okay, so if I give list, so I can get all the access. Okay, we can list and get the complete access. Say suppose I do cat app.py. See, we have everything here, right? So we have the entire code. Okay, say suppose you want to get the password. So if I just say cat etc password, okay, sorry, x1x 1s is added extra. Okay, so yeah, so if I do pssd, okay, see we have the entire password of our host system. Say suppose we need shadow, it's just a command away, so we just say etc shadow. Okay, and boom, we see that we have the entire list. So this is just an example, okay, of trojanizing the Docker. Imagine if the attacker can trojanize potentially a database, okay, the database Docker image, okay, and he's going to trojanize and similarly push it to the public registry. So when the victims, okay, we are going to pull this trojanized image and run, we end up giving the attacker the reversion access, eventually giving the entire access to our container. So all the data, whatever we have, the confidential data, the source, the app, everything will be tampered and compromised. So using these Docker images are extremely dangerous. So without any validations and without making sure it is secure, okay, just pulling the image from the public registry is going to give entire confidential data of our host machine to the attacker. So that's a wrap. Thanks for joining in. Stay tuned because we have got more exciting maps coming up. See you till then. Bye bye.